Lower back pain can be caused by a lot of different things, but would you believe me if I told you that it could be made worse by your neck and head position? I was really surprised when I found this out too, but in today's video, I want to share with you how I first discovered this link and my theory as to why it happens, and then what you can do about it if this is an issue for you. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Catherine. I'm the founder and principal therapist of LSM Clinic and the creator of Crate and Structural Massage. In these videos, I share information about how your body works and ways that you can take care of yourself to help reduce the pain that you experience on a day-to-day basis. So lower back, when I first started, I didn't love it because the thing with the lower back is that it can be caused by so many different things. It can be lower abdominals need to be activated, the glutes need to be activated, the piriformis needs to be released, the hip flexors need to be released. It can be linked to the hamstrings. It can be linked to the tension down the back of the leg. It can be linked to the tension in the muscles between your ribs. So it was probably one of the ones that took me the longest to develop a protocol for, because as you know, in Crate and Structural Massage, we have a protocol for each part of the body. And the neck connection was one that took me the longest time to get, because it seems to be pretty rare, but when you actually recognize it, it's very, very useful in people, especially who nothing else is working for. So, as I mentioned in another video, I love to know when people tell me this is linked to this or this works because of this. I always want to know, how do you know that? What is it based on? Why do you think that? So I try to include that in these videos. So in the first part, I'm going to talk about that, how I discovered it and tested it and my theory as to why it has the impact that it has. And then at the end, I'm going to talk about what you can do and how you can assess if it might be a factor for you. So if you really only care about the assessing part, how do I understand if my head position in my neck is a factor in my lower back pain, I will put a timestamp below in the description so that you can just click to that part and kind of skip the background. So the way that it came about that I realized that lower back pain could be related to your head and neck position is when, well, gosh, it's probably 10 years ago now. It was a long time ago. I had a client who had really persistent long-term lower back pain. They've tried loads of stuff. And I did everything that I had in my toolbox up to that point. I was doing releasing the hip flexors and the piriformis and getting them to do ab activation and shifting their hips over their ankles and all of the stuff. And even though it was improving, it wasn't solving it. And he knew already, he'd already gone to the doctor. There was no underlying structural issue. And I was really stumped. And I remember after the third or fourth session, I was just standing there and looking at this person in the mirror. Well, they were looking in the mirror and I was looking at them side on. And it really struck me how far forward their head position was in relationship to their shoulders. It was quite significant. They kind of had a long neck and their head was forward. And I said, well, you know what? Let me just release your neck, right? Because at that point, I'd done most of the stuff I could think about. I was kind of trying to figure out what else I could try that might make a difference. And so I released his SCM, which is sternocleidomastoid, which is the ropey muscle that we have at the side of our neck, which I will be making a muscle of the month video on that soon. And so I released it. And the thing that the SCM does is it kind of attaches here to the top of our sternum. It goes to the side and it attaches behind our ears. And then the fascial line goes behind our head. So when it's tight, it's pulling our head forward. And when it releases, it allows our head to go back over our shoulders, which can really reduce the strain on the back of the neck and the top of the shoulders. So I'm used to using it for neck and shoulder pain, right? And so after I released that, I had him stand up and immediately he goes, my back pain is gone. And I was just what? How can your back pain be gone from me releasing your neck? I've never seen that before. But what I noticed when he stood up is that now he wasn't shifting his hips so far forward and his shoulders back, right? Before there's this hinge going on where his, let's say this is the feet, this is the hips, and this is the shoulders, and then like the head's up here, he was kind of doing this, and then he'd switched to doing like this. So it wasn't perfect, but it was a lot better. The change to his posture was immediate. It was just like you've totally shifted the way that you're standing. And so I started testing it on people where they had a really noticeable forward head position and lower back pain, and it was consistently making a difference. So I was trying to figure out why would this happen, right? So this is the way a lot of what I do works, is that we observe something has an effect. We repeat it multiple times to see that it consistently has that effect when it does and when it doesn't. And then I try to develop a theory as to what I think my explanation is. And so in this case, one of the things that we know from working with people is that there is a place that the body wants to be in space. There is an alignment the body wants to be in. And if there are certain muscles that are tight or certain muscles that are not working the way that they should, it pulls the body out of alignment. And one of the strongest indications for that is that when we release something that was pulling the body out of alignment, it will go back into alignment. So I was pretty sure that what had happened was when I released the neck, it allowed the body to put itself in better alignment. But why was it doing that in the first place? What was it compensating for? And one of the things in postural assessments is on the side, we have this line that it's like the ear, the crease of the armpit, the hip, and the ankle, like is in a line. And I always wondered like what that was based on, but because I've seen it so often where the body feels most comfortable when it's in that line, I'm like, okay, so this is true. But what happens when your head is forward of your shoulders? Your ears are not going to be over your ankles unless your entire body shifts into a different position. And what that position tends to be, and what I've seen, Jesus. Oh, that was my cat. I think she scared me. He scared me. Anyway, let's try that again. Okay, so when our heads are forward and the muscle tension here makes it uncomfortable to have our heads over our shoulders where they're supposed to be, what seems to happen is that people shift their shoulders back so that their ears will be over their ankles. But if you shift your shoulders back and your hips are over your ankles, you're going to fall backwards, right? So for balance, the hips move forward. So the hips go forward of the ankles and the shoulders go back of the ankles. And then that way, the head, which is in a forward position relative to the shoulders, can be over the ankles. And like that seems to consistently be true. When people have forward head position, we often see their shoulders are back. And then when we line them up, like when we manually line them up, so their shoulders are over their hips or over their feet, their head's not over anything because their head is forward, they often say they feel like they're falling forward or like they're bending forward. And then when we release these muscles, the head moves back, and then they're better alignment. Now, you can't release this all in one go because this is usually something that's built up over time, but you can do a few things. So now we're to the section where I tell you what you can do about it. So if your neck is related to your lower back, one way that you can test if it's possible, like if you have lower back pain and you think your neck might be a factor, then you can look at yourself side on in the mirror or have someone take a picture of you side on in your normal posture and see where your hips and your shoulders and your head are. Or you can just notice where your head position is relative to your shoulders. Like ideally, your ears should be directly over your shoulders. But I mean, I don't even do that on a regular basis. It's just not, we hunch forward so much and we're in that forward position, it becomes really normal to have tension here. So one thing that you can try and do just to test it, and this isn't going to work on everybody, but I'd say it works about 50% of the time, is that you can just try and lift your ears up and bring your hips over your ankles at the same time. So you're kind of trying to line yourself up and see if your back feels better. If your back feels better, that's probably a sign that it is a factor. So the two ways that you can kind of check for yourself is if your hips are forward to have your ears over your ankles, or if when you put yourself in a better position, your lower back pain decreases. However, even if you're not sure, releasing your neck, improving your neck and shoulder relationship is going to be good for you, whatever. So even if it's not a problem in your lower back pain, adjusting or helping to address any imbalance that you have in the relationship between your head and your shoulders is going to help you anyway. It's going to help your upper back. It's going to help the top of the shoulders. It's going to help the back of the neck, etc. So there's a couple things you can do. You can start breathing into your diaphragm. One of the things that pulls us forward can be the scalenes. The scalenes are accessory muscles of respiration. I'm also going to do a muscle of the month video on that when I get a chance. So when those are tight, they'll be pulling your head forward. So by learning to breathe into your diaphragm, you can overuse these less, and then they should release a little bit. Another really great way, and actually we have a breathing visualization that can help with that. So I'll link that in the below. It's like pay what you want. The other thing that you can do that I find really helpful is you can just try to lay on the floor or on your bed without a pillow, and you just like tuck your chin in, lift your head up, tuck your chin in, and then put your head back down and relax it. And then you're not going to go back to this. You're going to be like this. And then that will start to stretch a little bit the sternocleidomastoid and the SCM and the scalenes. And you can just do that for a few minutes every night before you fall asleep to kind of start helping to lengthen out all of those things. You can also work on having one step closer posture, which is something that I explained. We have a free workshop to improve your desk posture on the website, which I will also link below. We have like a desk worker work from home resource page. And the free workshop talks about how to make your posture better. And one of those things is to slowly move yourself toward a better posture. You can't go straight to perfect posture like all at once, but you can start by just like lifting a little bit here. You keep your chin flat, but you just kind of lift behind the ears. So you're lengthening the neck to help your head be over your shoulders, right? So you go from this collapsed position to being lifted. Those can help too. And honestly, we have loads more resources. I will link the adjustments that you can make at your desk, and I will link the desk worker workshop that talks about improving your posture a little bit at a time and the chest stretch that goes along with it. We also have a very in-depth neck and shoulder pain course for desk workers that also touches on the back because it does like lower abdominal exercises, which are important for lower back. And of course, if you're in London and you want help with any of this, you can book a session with us. I'll put the booking link below. But hopefully this helps. I will say one more time, like lower back is very complicated. So you want to make sure that you're looking at the abs. You want to make sure that you're looking at the hip flexors. You want to make sure you're looking at the piriformis. You want to make sure that you are strengthening your lower abdominals, right? All of those things work together to support the back. Sometimes there's a structural issue that means you need to have like scans done to just check like what the joints are doing around there. So it's a very complex area, but this was a missing link that I didn't know about until a couple years into my practice. So that's why I wanted to share with you. So if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate if you could like it and share with someone who may also be suffering from lower back pain or just wants tips about moving their head over their shoulders. And if you would like to get notified as I release more videos, you can click the subscribe below. And anything about the lower back that I have a link for, I'll try to put it in the description so that you can check that out for more resources around the lower back. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you try anything or if you have any questions in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.